Good morning and welcome again to another devotion. And today I want to share from the book of First Samuel, chapter 17, from verse 1 to verse 50. That is going to be the scriptures that we will be studying and looking at and applying some of the lessons that we are learning from those scriptures into our daily lives or events or experiences. I want to title this Overcoming Goliath. In there is the story of Goliath, the Philistines giant that was facing the Israelites and oppressing them, as it were. And you can do a read of that First Samuel chapter 17 from verse 1. Goliath was a fortified enemy, signifying something, someone, an experience, an addiction, a sickness that may withstand our faith or show our incapabilities. Goliath in this scenario types something, someone, an experience, an addiction, a sickness of some kind. Whatever it is that seems to stand against our faith, seems to be something that is constantly in our mind, putting a question mark on our faith. And we, by the scriptures, we will try to look at how do you overcome Goliath. I'm not talking about just David in this scenario wasn't fighting against just someone, his peers, as it were. He wasn't fighting against just someone down the street. He was going to be fighting against someone bigger than him, probably way more experienced than him, that have overcome people that have been previously trained with more years of training and experiences, but this Goliath had overcome those ones. And you may be faced with certain scenarios, situations, challenges, personality, but maybe people more experienced than you, more educated than you, probably seemingly more spiritual than you, have not been able to overcome such scenario. And you are saying, I'm faced with a Goliath here. It might be a Goliath in your marriage. It might be a Goliath in your finances. It might be a Goliath in your health, in your ministry. A Goliath that seems to threaten your faith, that seems to, in a way, is making a mockery of your boldness and your confidence. How did David overcome Goliath? How did that little boy that seemingly seemed to have been, unknown, how did that little boy stand against a giant? We look at some of those things we read. In First Samuel, chapter 17, if we read from verse 10, and the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. Verse 16. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. What I want to draw from here, from these two verses, was that Goliath was constantly threatening Israel. Constantly. And you may have a situation, a person, a relationship, something that is constantly threatening your joy, constantly threatening your faith, constantly in your mind, questioning your faith, or maybe filling your heart with fear of some kind. A Goliath. The Bible says he was constantly, morning and evening, defying. To defy means make a mockery, question, challenge, threaten the Israelites. They had a king. They had a God with them. But yet, the Goliath was threatening them. Are you being threatened by Goliath? An addiction that threatens your faith constantly in your mind. That war is going on. That threat is going on. It was embarrassing because the Bible said they were all hiding. They couldn't stand up to Goliath. They had God of Israel with them. But this Goliath, this Philistine, uncircumcised, was threatening them and putting them in a place of subjection. The history of the enemy and the words he uttered created fear and a sense of hopelessness to the camp who had the Lord in their midst. We can see verse 33. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. When Goliath came to threaten the Philistine, they began to seek for someone that could go and represent Israel to fight against Goliath. And they found a little boy that said, I can do it. His name was David. I can go and represent Israel. So they bring Israel to the king. And here's the confession of the king. The man that's meant to lead them said, You are not able to do it because this guy has got much more experience than you. You can't stand against him. We are all afraid of this man. I want to continue sharing a bit more on the lessons that we learned from this and how we can overcome Goliath. But I want you to know one thing. It doesn't matter the Goliath that you will be faced with. Not by power, not by might, but by God's Spirit. You can always defeat the Goliaths of your life. God bless you and have a wonderful day, and I hope to continue sharing a bit more on this topic of overcoming Goliath. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.